Okay, on our right we have Shark, Ali Sharkawi. He is the writer, director, producer, the editor, partially sound engineer, creative control. On the left we have Ian.
The other sound.
Moving to America from Egypt, starting a new life here in Dallas, especially in Richardson. Starting off, building my career, making a lot of friends, mentors, mentees. Kind of wanted to represent that creatively through one of my favorite passions, which is filmmaking. And so I wrote a movie that kind of involved all of my best friends and a narrative that I think is interesting, a mystery detective noir movie.
There was a time when we kept running through cameramen. At the beginning, we had somebody, and he was pretty good. He was talented, but he ended up not continuing with us. And then we cycled through a couple more people. I think there was a lot of hitches there, and I was worried for a while that it was gonna change the style of the movie midway through, because there's different people that care about different angles, different shots, and for different reasons.
Initially, we did have two leading cinematographers, one of which bailed before production occurred due to scheduling conflicts, and then the other filmed a day. Saad Mukadi, put him in the special things. He did a great shoot that one day, but again, due to scheduling conflicts, he had to shift out of the project. To which then blossomed our full cinematographers of this film, Alejandro behind the camera right now, and Robert Eel, who killed it as well. So the development of this movie was very tricky, the pre-production, and then we also had a few actors kind of I wrote the roles for them that were completely unavailable. So they had to be replaced somehow. So it was very tricky filling in the cast and crew roles. But once that finally set in stone, production just started to kind of be like a domino effect. And there were some other problems down that line, but I would say that was the scariest part. I had my very first car after graduation. It was a 1996 Acura TL. That car barely ran, but I loved it. It was my first car. It had that 90s aesthetic, and I thought this is the perfect beat-up detective car that my character would drive. And it was a part of the movie. And halfway through the movie, believe it or not, that car got hijacked from my own parking lot. It got broken into and it disappeared. And while we were having our own detective mystery movie, there was another detective mystery story happening on the side of my own personal life, where police opened an investigation on a missing Acura TL that was never recovered. It was literally my own side movie. You could have made another movie about my car being stolen and me being my own private investigator. Went on Facebook Marketplace. I saw a bunch of Acura TLs of the same beige color. I contacted these sellers. I reached out to them. They wanted to sell me the car. It was not the same car. I thought I would have a gotcha moment. This is my car. Cops, come arrest this guy. Never happened. The car probably is in some dumps, cut up in multiple parts, unfortunately. But we managed to finish the movie with some movie magic. And again, Robert Eel came through with his Acura, filmed a lot of the interior shots with his car. Avoided shooting a lot of outside shots of the car, which was a little bit disappointing at the time, but given how the movie has been turning out, I would say the movie's still amazing. We didn't lose much. It was definitely an unfortunate event, but that was absolute rock bottom for me. I didn't have a car, pretty much, and I wanted to make a movie and do my first job. It was crazy. Just being considerate of other people's lives, especially when they're doing this movie for you as a friend. Like this is a passion project for them as much as it is for me. So going into the scheduling of things and planning a whole 2 days of shooting, and then 2 weeks pass by, we come to that day of shooting and half of the cast and crew don't show up. Very, very tricky to kind of adjust on the fly the morning of, keep shooting going, make the days productive, film what we can, maybe pull some shots in from different days that don't involve these actors. So I kind of was like a scheduling master throughout this production. It was very stressful, but also very enriching experience to kind of go through that.
This is part of the growing pains that I was mentioning earlier. I figured that there was going to be something like this that you just don't understand unless you have experience in it. And part of that is realizing the difference between the imagined version of how it will go and how it really will go. Because when you imagine somebody making a movie, you imagine professionals, people who do this for a living. You come here and you make your living off acting. But everyone that did this, we did this because we're friends with Ali, because we wanted to participate. So, it's people that put up their time after work, after having done all the things you have to do in the day. So for participating, we're grateful with everybody. I knew that it was going to be difficult because of our lack of experience, but I thought that the effort we put in more than would make up for it.
Why did you do it then? Why did you feel comfortable enough to be like, yeah, I'll do it?
It's not that I felt comfortable, it's just that I trusted you.
Oh. Some of the most enriching moments I had in this project is meeting up with location owners like Jerry Harkins from the Tavern. What a cool experience. You go into a bar, you ask for the manager, you tell them you're making a movie based in Richardson, and you connect with those people and they allow you to film in their establishment out of their kindness and love for art. This was probably my favorite moments of the production because that was a bar that I would go to on the regular outside of filming.
None.
Finding Jimmy. Finding Jimmy is I kind of cringe a little bit thinking about it because I'll in a good way. It's like looking at your younger self and seeing like how much you've come, and then you're like, oh, I totally like could have done things differently back then. The biggest thing I love about Finding Jimmy is how ballsy and confident I was going into that movie. I literally did what we did with Clandestine Nights in 2 months. I grabbed people, locations, a little shitty camera, a little baby microphone. I was like, we're gonna make the best movie ever. And we made the movie happen. Was it the best movie ever? Debatable. But we made the movie. Now, the worst part about that production is, again, my confidence, because I was literally a copycat of Tarantino style. So I was like, what if I take that concept of a movie and tone it down to an indie film? Let me just see how my talents would take me with a dialogue-driven movie. And I just made it. And it was a cool project. It was fun. But again, it was kind of like a salad bowl of, my personality and ideas. It wasn't necessarily a concise piece of art. I would say Clandestine Nights kind of hits that niche.
You tend to be a little rough on yourself on that copying Tarantino in that first movie, but think about it, man. When you first learn an instrument, you're learning somebody else's music first. You're learning Mary Had a Little Lamb, you learn Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You start off with things that other people have already written. And then once you get really good at what you're doing, you can make your own song. But there's nothing wrong with having an inspiration at the start.
You said the same thing.
If more than anything, what impresses me about finding Jimmy is that you did it. A lot of people like to talk about, oh, I can make a movie, or I can make that movie better, or oh, I could be a great artist, or I could do X, Y, and Z. But that's all it is. It's just talk. It's just bullshit. You going out, having a vision of something, and setting out to do it, and then doing it in itself is an accomplishment worth celebrating.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
And we will keep honing down the basics, and then we'll break the rules, like you always say.